Where are you going?
I literally, this is my third conference call. I just dropped somebody off. I was like, oh my God, I'm not gonna make it back to the hotel. Let me just stop what I'm doing.
That is so funny. That is so funny. So Tahir says, he goes, I don't know if you know Tangi. And I'm like, come on now.
What? I told you, Tahir.
I didn't want to assume, man. You know, I didn't want to assume.
I told you, Tahir. I was
said,
like, hey.
look, I know you the OG. You know everybody.
Hey, I know these two. I don't know about everybody, but I know these two.
Right. You know the right people. You know the right people. Hey, I'm the one that's late.
Hey, Wanda, I told Tahir, I said, wait a minute, are you sure you want to ride this train? You gonna put the three of us a couple of days after, a week after an election? And you really want to put us on the call?
That's why we had to do it.
You know we got something to say. You know,
I know. I was gonna say he don't know. He just don't know. You don't know. It's all right. We'll find out.
That's why we had to do it. I said, look, we had the Black CannaConference, so we're gonna keep it all the way real and give it to them for real.
Hey,
absolutely. You got
and actually to all of y'all too. You know, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Definitely appreciate all of to have all of these beautiful Black veterans on the call.
I know. Black veterans that understand cannabis. That's something.
That's very unique. Very unique.
Yeah, Black veterans who gonna talk that, you know what I'm saying, give it to you all the way, because we tell it all.
Yep.
Not only understanding cannabis, Wanda's in the gun game now too.
Yo,
Wanda, when I saw that, let me tell you how the universe is giving me all types of signs. I go next weekend to get my license to teach other people how to shoot. So when Wanda came out, I was like, oh my God, like we're all on the same page. We're getting ready. We're not playing no more. Like people
hold on though. But see, here's the thing. You gotta understand what it's like for me, because I'm the one who, y'all don't know what it's like to be me watching y'all. Both of you dropped that news. Like, first of all, Tangi been putting out videos of her shooting and everything, right? And I'm like, damn, Tangi done, she's so pissed off, she done tapped into her inner Marine. Here we go. And then all of a sudden, here go Wanda, and she popping up with a gun range. I'm like, well, goddamn. Shit,
yes! That was the biggest thing that was a highlight of my week. I swear. I was like, yes, Wanda.
I'm bringing Tangi out as a guest instructor. We got to have you come in as a guest instructor.
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Lord.
This next weekend I qualify and I go take the test. I cannot wait. I'm so excited.
Is this your NRA instructor or which test?
USCCJ.
USCCJ. Yeah, that was. So we're rolling with them hard, but as you know, I don't know. Are we live? We doing this
live,
now?
Right? What are we doing?
Oh,
sorry.
Hold up.
Sorry, yeah.
I believe so. I think we're live. So
yeah,
you know what?
I was just about to light up because I was getting into it.
This is how it is when family gets together, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, man, you know, if y'all are here watching, y'all are in tune for definitely something special today because, you know, for one, like we already said, if you're just joining us, we have Trump still trying to steal the election. You know, we got Tangi down there in Georgia. I know you want to talk about that. We got the New Jersey bill trying to go through with no social, the word social equity doesn't appear in it, not one time at all.
206 pages, 95,000 words. Not once does social equity show up at all.
Like you said, y'all see my Howard paraphernalia in the back. We got a bison on the way to the White House. Who Wanda James posted in her house on the way to the election. So we got a lot to talk about. You know, like I don't think this is a controlled conversation, man. I think for us as Black people, like not just in the cannabis industry, but as Black people in general, we got a lot to mobilize on. We got a lot to talk about, and we just need to have that conversation because these are the people that we need to lead this conversation.
I have yet to have a controlled conversation with Leo Bridgewater. So.
Look, I was just sitting here looking at, I'm staring at Wanda going, and Tangi look like she want to go,
right.
We all
don't know where should we start? We probably should start with Georgia.
Ladies first, bro. Ladies first. We defer to the women. We let them have it. How about
so
that
I don't
way?
even know which way we should start with, but I mean, can we just go ahead and talk about guns for a second? Because I want to talk about guns, Second Amendment, cannabis, and Black people, right? Because and I don't know, and I'm getting asked a lot of questions now. Of course, like with the press, when you first open a gun range, everybody's like, "Oh, this is great," and now it's "Ooh, you can't have a gun range and a dispensary." And I need to be very clear with everybody that yes, you can, because John Boehner is also a dispensary owner, a board, sits on boards of huge dispensary corporations, and he is also a gun owner from his own words. So let's not get this twisted that you can't own guns and be in the cannabis space. The question is normally, do you use illegal marijuana or illegal drugs? And the answer to that is always no. But here's the problem though. And here's why, another reason why we need to get cannabis legal. Because why should vets, as which we all are here on this table, or on this, you're not on my table, you're on my computer, on this call. Why are we not afforded our Second Amendment? Because we choose to recreate with a plant much safer than alcohol, because you can have vodka and own a gun. You can have Oxycontin and own a gun. But because this is a Schedule I illegal drug, they're saying, or plant, they're saying that you cannot use cannabis and have or have your Second Amendment
firearm.
right, have your firearm. So I have publicly stated that if I have to choose between enjoying my favorite plant or protecting myself in a time of Trump and crazy people, because I'm getting little text and stuff on my Facebook page that says, "Aren't you a special snowflake, bitch? Trump 2020." Right? So, and so when I start to get those kind of things, because I'm an outspoken Black woman, and now the laws say that I can't protect myself, my family, my home, I don't think so.
And you and Kamala the same color too? Yeah, you really got a target on your back.
And when we start to look at the idea that, you know, gun ownership amongst African Americans has jumped to 58%, that we are now one of the leading folks in buying guns and starting to understand our Second Amendment rights. And then lastly, I want to say about our Second Amendment, we have been given the okie doke by the Progressive Party, right? They want us to not have our guns, not embrace Second Amendments because of Chicago and gang warfare, right? So this is not the issue here. We are respectful gun owners. We are vets. We understand what the Second Amendment means. We understand how to use a firearm. And we need to train us, because all of our rights for Black Americans, we get all of them, not just the first and the third, or we get all of them, and we need to embrace all of them. That's all I got.
Preach, Wanda, preach.
Really do.
Yeah.
Hey, Tangi, did you introduce yourself? Did you tell them who you are?
Oh, no, we haven't done that yet. I suppose we should do that. Tahir, get control of this conversation. Dang it.
All right, so we do some introductions. You got to start, Wanda. You got to go for the first introduction, or I'll introduce. I'm gonna introduce somebody that needs no introduction. This is Miss Wanda James, the first African American to own a dispensary in the U.S. And the first African American to own a gun range in Colorado, or is that everywhere? Like, she's checking a lot of firsts, y'all. So y'all better know who she is if you don't know.
Some big ass first, if you ask me. Shit.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of first. Okay, I mean, I'm glad that we're doing it, but you know, first just means that we need to kick down a whole bunch of doors and you know and open it up, right? So there are no African American gun ranges in Colorado. As a matter of fact, there are probably no African American owned gun ranges in most states. I know there's one in California. I believe there's one in Georgia. You know, but there aren't a lot.
I think we got one here in Jersey now.
In Jersey, you've got one in Jersey.
I think so.
But this is the point, though. We need to embrace this. But yeah, so we've been doing cannabis for over 10 years. Former military vet, got out of the Navy back in 1991, before most of y'all were born. But it has been a long process in getting here, and one that I'm very proud of. And I think for me, as I start talking about legacy and what's important, it's about embracing all of our rights as Americans, because that's what we are.
Absolutely.
Period.
And you're always fighting for us. And somebody said New Jersey, so I got to talk about my big bro, Leo Bridgewater. We're both Trentonians, you know, as they say, Trent makes the world takes. And this brother here is the one responsible for making sure that PTSD is a use in New Jersey. So fighting for veterans, everybody there. The brother got his own strain. When I say he got his own strain, he got his own strain up there in New Jersey. So, you know, man, my bro Leo Bridgewater, man. And last but certainly not least, the amazing, the one and only, I don't even know what to call her. Is she Tangy Daniel? Is she Jane Green, the woman of many hats? Always bringing that fire. She launched Jane Green Beauty. If y'all at ATL, make sure you pick up the beauty care products. But she's a globetrotter. Every time I see her, she's in another city on vacation. You know what I mean? But
she is.
It's a blessing to have all y'all here, you know? Tangy, I want to talk to you about, you know, in Georgia, you know, Black women saved the election down there in Atlanta. How you feel about that?
Girl.
You know what? I truly felt like we showed up and showed out, and we did what we were supposed to do. I do feel like, to be very transparent, I felt like we could have done better on a lot of different things. But what I will say is, I want to give them everything that they say they need, right? When I say they, I mean the Democrats. I want to show up one more time in Georgia. I want to give them the House, the Senate. I want to give them the presidency. And at this point, if we are not seeing substantial changes in the Black community, because the Democrats rely heavily on our community to get into office every single time. So you always say, you know, if we had this, or if we had this, and we couldn't do this because we didn't have power over this. Okay, you getting 2 seats out of Georgia. I can stamp that. We gonna show up, and we're gonna show out again, and we're gonna give you, you know, the Senate. But this time we need to definitely see there's absolutely no reason why we still have states coming on board and they ain't letting nobody out of jail for the same thing. It's essential business now. It's essential medicine now. So we got a lot to discuss. But with Georgia, we definitely see the pressure. We know everyone's looking at us. We know all eyes are on us. The conversation has started before he announced, before 270 came out, before we knew that these seats were important. We knew that we had to get the current people out of there because they're not servicing us or our communities. And so we understand the significance of what's about to happen.
I keep having this fantasy of every time that there is a vote in the Senate that Kamala Harris comes out the White House, gets into her limo, they drive her down, you know, the boulevard. She gets out of her limo, walks into the Senate, busts open the doors, walks up on the podium, says, Democrats, turns around, walks back out of the Senate, gets back into her limo, and goes back to the White House. And I'm like, yes, I'm so excited by that.
Because that's what it's going to come down to, that, because if it's 50-50, then the Senate president, who's the vice president, is the deciding factor. And Kamala gonna walk up in there and be like, oh yeah, look, dressed to the 9 too.
I know, with her heels on. With her heels on.
Pow! This is what it is. Bye, y'all. Hi, y'all.
Bye, y'all. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Wanda, I know that you were you hosted Kamala at your house. You did the fundraiser for her. What was that process? You know, what was it like?
It's done.
Like seeing up close.
And it's done.
Exactly. She does her thing and then it's out. So before politics, before cannabis, politics is what I did. I was here in Colorado, I've run about 3 congressional races. And one of those congressional races was our
She said looking good. She said looking good. But real quick, shout out to my man Scott Durr. I see you, bruh. Another vet. Get it in. Support Scott Durr. Okay,
we're a vet house. We're a vet house up in here. But being able to work for Barack Obama on his National Finance Committee, helping Jared, our now governor of Colorado, you know, win his races.
Semper Fi.
Semper Fi. That's what I'm talking about. And with Kamala here, you know, last August, it was overwhelming. There was over 170 people in our house. We raised about, I think that we came real close to the $200,000 number for her. So it was a big deal in Colorado. She just did a lot of amazing things here. And you know what? She's really spectacular. And is a Black woman that we've got. I mean, HBCU, and you know, she got Black jokes, and I mean, she's just one of us. Just like we're all doing this now, that's exactly who she is. And just really loved having her here. Loved her.
Oh my gosh, and I can't wait till inauguration, man. That is about to be so crazy.
I hope we have one. Are we going to have one? Is it going to be like one of these Zoom things?
No, we better have one. Not an inauguration. It's probably going to be a civil war.
No, we can't. No, we can't take that chance from a security purpose. It wouldn't be a smart thing to do.
Oh, yeah, COVID. Dang, I forgot. Dang, COVID. No inauguration.
Yeah. You're talking. That's like that would be like classified as a super spreader event.
It would.
That would not be.
Because you know we showing up. We showing
up.
Like,
we want to. We really want to. And trust me when I tell you, we gonna show up in other places. It just can't be because they put the call out. That wouldn't be a good look.
True. Yeah.
So you know,
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So just put a PSA. Everybody, before when y'all start planning these, election day or inauguration day parties and stuff, remember to keep protection and all that stuff, using your mask and all that. That's just a PSA. Yeah, practice safe.
It's taking out our Black folks more than anybody.
Well, never mind. I was gonna. Never mind. Edit.
Well, that's cool. Well, no, Leo, I got a question for you, man, because today we were supposed to be testifying in New Jersey about the legalization bill. They decided to push it back, so they got a little reprieve. Can you talk about, for people listening, a little bit about what's going on in New Jersey? And also, I think this has significance because what they do in New Jersey is what they're going to try to look to in Pennsylvania, New York, like these other places legalized. And we can't let it be like Denver. Denver's just now trying to put a social equity bill out, and it's horrible,
and I'm embarrassed. They put up $150,000 next year for social equity.
And it's like almost $1 million to the police department, right?
Dude, all right. Go ahead, Leo. We got This is all wrong.
So y'all know I'm up in here raising hell. You know what I'm saying? And this is where, like I've said this time and time again, and I think everyone who's watching this, within range of my voice, understand something, okay? When me, Tangi, and Wanda are up inside them state houses, when we raising hell, see, they talk to us different than they talk to you because we're veterans. You see what I'm saying? That veteran status gives us a moment or two more than they would give a regular citizen. And when those things happen, people like me, Wanda, and Tangi, we got to have our talking points and stuff together. Hence, the secret to my success in terms of how I've been able to try to get things going here in New Jersey. So last week, New Jersey legalized for adult use. Okay, and here's the thing: I wasn't concerned on whether or not it would go through or not. I knew it would. What I was concerned with was by how much. And here's the thing: we made history. When we voted for adult use, we got it with 67% of the vote. Yep. That's the largest margin in the history of this country for states who are legalizing for adult use. And right now, and understand something, this last election was poignant because you have 5 other states who have voted for either adult use or just medical. And one state voted for adult use and medical at the same time, and it went through. So you have to understand why the importance of that 67% is. And this is veterans giving civics lessons to citizens, okay? That 67% in New Jersey, what that represents is almost 2 million people say yes to this shit, okay? Now, here's the thing. What that does for activists and advocates such as myself, Tangi, and Wanda, and Tahir, is that 67% gives us muscle. That's what that is. That's muscle that we need that says, look, y'all gonna do something, especially here in New Jersey, because I've been doing this since 2015, and they've been kicking this can down the road. We knew this was an eventuality, but they kicked the can down the road by not legislatively legalizing cannabis, that they made it to a ballot referendum. Now, the thing that's dangerous about ballot referendums is we're changing the state constitution, and the people get taken out of the dotting of the I's and crossing of the T's. And it requires a massive amount of money and a massive amount of education. So when you look at everything, all the ills of this industry, no matter where it plays out, be it New Jersey or any other state, all roads lead back to education or lack thereof. I have people, I'm dealing with lawmakers here who still say gateway drug. They still talk like that, okay? And so now we you know, now where we are at this point, to Tahir's earlier point was, because we have a mandate to get this done by January 1st, because this is an amendment to the Constitution, they have to get it done. If they don't get a bill through, it's just going to be legal, and then you're going to have some crazy ass free for all, okay? But if they, what has to happen is, now they're in the part where we're, you know, putting all the little dotting of the I's and crossing of the T's. Here's the details, you know what I'm saying? So now we have to do this thing called submit bill language. You know what I'm saying? That's the currency that these politicians now accept right now. You have to have clear talking points, wants, the whole 9 yards. And so for us, when we looked at this framework of a bill that they put out, that they were going to try to ramrod through, you know what I'm saying? 206 pages, 95,000 words, social equity doesn't come up at all, okay? And the thing is that this is that part of the conversation where Black leadership has largely been absent from, you know, because when you talk about the economic impact and everything, you'll get 4 or 5 words about the business, but then we'll get stuck on expungement, social justice. You see what I'm saying? And the thing is now we're at that point where, because we're caucusing and we're putting in the little details, we need things more detailed. Like, for instance, what is a minority? You know, we need them to say Black. We need that to be defined. And we need to say Black in perpetuity, Black and Latino in perpetuity in terms of funding. Because, see, right now we're the minorities, but 50 years from now, we may not be the minorities. So you want specific language such as that. You see what I'm saying? And in perpetuity as well. The other thing that, you know, one of the things that I'm pushing for is for a $42 excise tax on cultivation and producing and processing. The reason being is because it's $42 per ounce excise tax. Oh, and I wanted to call the restitution tax. It is from that pot there where that's where the CRC, which is the Cannabis Regulatory Commission here in New Jersey, and it's going to be 5 seats. That is where that CRC can actually do those community impact programming, fund those barrier to entry programming in terms of finances and stuff like that, because there's going to be a whole lot of subcommittees. The other thing too is the specific definition of impact zones. That's something that's in this bill too. As it currently stands, a city has to, in order to qualify for an impact zone, a municipality would have to have a population of over 120,000 people. That would exclude the capital city of Trenton, Camden, and so a whole lot of other. You see what I'm saying?
Black people are? Is that what you're saying?
What? That's literally what he said, AKA.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Sanj, I know when they talk about spelling it out specifically, about making sure Black folks get it. I know you got something to say about that.
And that's why I'm saying, you know, I'm giving it to you raw dog, because, you know, like the whole thing, we know about the whole game when it comes to minorities. You see what I'm saying? Because they use white women. You see what I'm saying? You know, that's the other thing, that those are the move arounds and stuff like that. And so we have to, even with residency requirements, because now we have this thing where you only have to be a resident. It's in this framework that you would only have to be a bona fide resident of the state of New Jersey for 3 years, and then you can open up you can apply for a license in an impact zone anywhere in the state. You see what I'm saying? That's Go ahead. I'm sorry, Wanda.
No, you're good. But I mean, all of this points to all of the issues that we've been dealing with. One major point that I've been fighting, and I'm getting ready to probably step into it even more, is white women need to be removed from this protected class that allows them to have access to social equity programs, to EEOC programs, to programs that are set up for disadvantaged businesses to move ahead. And here's the thing. Yes, I know that women aren't represented in the business place as much as men. I thoroughly get that, right? But white women have a few advantages that we don't, i.e. rich white fathers, rich white husbands, and sons that they are raising to be rich white sons. uncles and everybody else there, right? So I don't understand why that group of people gets the same opportunities that the three of us or the four of us on this line get when I ain't got a rich daddy, I ain't got a rich husband, I ain't got a rich son, I ain't got, you know, family money that I can call up and say, hey, I need cash. And so it's time that we start to look at what these programs are set up for. And Leo, you nailed it. It's time to say Black, you know?
Yes.
And during COVID,
during
COVID, 42% of all Black businesses have failed. During COVID, 42% of all Black businesses, not have failed, are gone, are no longer in existence. We have lost almost half of our small business base. Gone. Not white women's business, but Black businesses. So it's time for us to start to say, here's what we want, here's what we're demanding. And I'm tired of the okie doke. I am. And you know, all of this shit that we've been talking about with social equity, why do Black people deserve opportunities for their foot into this industry? Because we paid on the slave side. When they can find, you know, 85% of Black boys and girls to go ahead and arrest and put into prison to be slaves, but yet they're all, oh, well, we just don't know how to get Black businesses in this industry. Bullshit. Yeah, you do. And it's going to happen and it needs to happen. But until we come out strong on it and be like, no more, not even a conversation about, yeah, we're going to move it a little bit, but we got to get strong on this. You know, we got to.
We have to be more defined. We have to be specific now.
Yes.
And that's why, you know, like, that's why I've been working the bat phones and stuff like that at this time. You know, I'm going to be meeting with the Capital City Black Caucus on Saturday. I'm going to be, you know, I've been on a, you know, talking with Cory Booker's office and going back and forth with pretty much making the rounds politically. But I've been, you know, really pushing the whole that whole excise tax, and I've been saying that I wanted the wording to be restitution, you know, because you used this to do something to me, and now I need to be made whole. And so when you talk about and when we talk about equity and whatnot, you know, if you ask 10 different activists what equity is, you're going to get 10 different answers. And so what I had to do was expand what I mean by when I say equity. I'm not talking about just in business. I'm talking about, and I want equity in policy making. I want equity in the administration. I want equity in the enforcement, not just the business. I want equity in the from the rooter to the tutor. I want it all. You know, I want it all. Because that's what, and I specifically said, I want you to say restitution too. Say it. Because you know what? A block away from the governor's office is a damn sign written in the street that says Black Lives Matter. All right, Black Lives Matter. Well, then fuck it. Put your money where your mouth is.
Show me.
Be more that. So fucking say it. Say it. And I want you to say, and I want restitution.
And when the United States president says we owe Black people, when the United States vice president says we're here because of Black women, when the Democratic Party says we would not have had any of these seats if it wasn't for Black people as a whole, you know what? I am tired of being there and then treated like shit on the other side.
Exactly.
It just needs to stop. And this is the battle that's getting ready to happen in Colorado and everywhere else. And
whose fault is that? I'm
say that again, Tangi.
Tangi sound like Darth Vader.
Just say it again.
I'm sorry. We have to take accountability also as a community. We have to take accountability as a community and say, like, you know, this is something. Oh, it's a delay. Okay, so yeah, we got to take accountability as a community to make sure that we get our voice heard and demand it. And if our demands aren't met, then we need to be in a position to walk away from the table. We're not negotiating properly, in my opinion. We are at a point where if we save in the day every single time and have zero to show for it, who is supposed to save us? Who is supposed to write the legislation that we deserve when it comes to equity? Is not only just, you know, making sure that it's equal for us, but we want a percentage of the pie. We deserve it. We have paid, as she said, through the slave labor and through, you know, prison industrial complex. The war on drugs, president after president after president has not made this a priority. So now that they know that we are the juice, we the salt, we the ones that made all this come together, then we the ones that need to make sure that this is done properly. And the way we do that is we either write the legislation we want to see, we only support the ones that we want to support. I don't understand why we not supporting only Wanda, only Mary and May, only, Elevate. We only supporting those. We only giving our money and our business to them because those are the people that support us.
I would agree with that. I would
deliberate.
I would agree with that whole point in terms of at this point now it's time to start, calling our banners, figuring out whose banners we're going to fall under, because we need to have a unified message. The thing about it is that here's what's difficult, okay? And this is for everybody. You have two types of people at every level of government, okay? You have Jetsons and you have Flintstones. And those designators transcend gender, race, religion, and more importantly, those designators transcend age, because there's some young ass Flintstones. But as I travel around the country and I talk with folks and everything, I'm also starting to figure out that there are a lot of Jetsons pretending to be Flintstones because it's much more profitable for them to be a Flintstone than it is to be a Jetson. So these are all things that we have to, and you know who they are based on the words that they use. And when you talk about cannabis legalization and hemp and everything, as it relates to even in the state of New Jersey, you're asking a bunch of Flintstones to write the rules to a Jetsons game, and if this was a television show, all of us are in season 8, episode 4. They're in season 1, episode 6. Spoiler alert, it's not a gateway drug. That's the season 1 finale.
And here's the biggest thing that I think on social equity, though, and Tangi, you absolutely hit it. So it is up to the businesses that have been here to create social equity, right? And so my call to Black folks, and we're getting ready to do some things here that hopefully helps put more Black and brown faces in the industry. But how often are we going to be up against this stuff that we deal with when they're not listening to us and legislators aren't listening to us? So we need to turn around and then have our businesses, right? How do we ensure that our product lines are given to the folks in New Jersey to be able to develop them that look like Leo Bridgewater, which I do need to talk to you. Tangi, I didn't know that you were in Georgia because you're always everywhere, but I need to talk to you. Tahir, I need to talk to you because we need to be able to make sure, if I'm already in this game, then let's make sure that the other businesses that are coming up are doing it with our help. You know what I mean? And then we should all be supporting each other's business so that that money is staying within our communities 3 times before it leaves, right? Because when we start driving our own businesses and we start driving our own economic development, then we don't have to always rely on the other piece for social equity. We will then get it because we will have the power then to go after it, right? Because right now we're kind of powerless because, we're asking, hey guys, can we get this in there? Hey guys, and then everybody talks such a fucking good game, excuse my language. Everybody before legalization, governors, senators, everybody else, we believe, Black Lives Matter. And then, oh, well, we just didn't have the budget for that social equity this year. And next year, when we take a look at that social equity thing, we'll be able to put more money in it, right? And I've been in this game now for a decade and next year has never come.
That's like the Italians, you always say domani, tomorrow. We'll take care of it tomorrow, and we're sitting there like this, and I'm like, nah, that's why, again, but here's the thing though, Wanda, what needs to happen now, and this is these critical times because not all of us are in the same, or we're not all in the same position at the same time. And so I get what you're saying, like our rhetoric has to, our rhetoric has to be time appropriate. The power is there. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And we have to, what we have to do is, everything you said goes back to my earlier point. All roads lead back to education or lack thereof. There are a lot of people who don't realize that there are people who look like me and you and Tangi and Tahir that's already in the space. And we have to recognize where we are right now at this time in time. The biggest thing, this is like for us right now, for me, this is the one nightmare scenario I now find myself in the one nightmare scenario that transcends all the things that that me and you and Tangi been talking about. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Our governor told us 3 weeks ago that we were light in the ass about $4 billion in the budget. Okay, and that was enough to get people. That was enough to get people to go 67% of the vote. You see what I'm saying? So right now, as far as our state legislature is concerned, it almost feels like they feel like they can do this without us now. Ain't that much of a fight because they have to. You see what I'm saying? So this is that critical time where we have to, like, we have to be what we've been preaching about now. We have to go beyond hypothetical. These, what ends up happening, let me tell you, because this is what kind of frustrates me too. I go to these meetings and stuff like that, and then what happens is you get people stand up, they speak their truth to power, the room clap, and then everybody go home and don't do nothing. Yeah, it's like, well, what the, and the thing is that particularly when it comes to, and Tahir, you need to learn this, when it comes to veterans, that is one of the most frustrating things in the world, because we about that work. You understand what I'm saying? You see the problem, you fucking do it, and then it gets done. And the thing is that you have to understand, we come from an organization, you have the greatest military in the history of the planet. That's a fact, okay? The way these United States is, the ability that we have to wage war is incredible. It's a sight to see. Trust me when I tell you. But the reason why that is because all of us come from an environment at one time or another that fosters success. Now, the thing is that we only know success one way, just one, together. We've always done it together. It's the thing that kind of transcends the whole racial thing and all that other stuff. That's why I know, listen, I know some racist ass white boys, nigga all day, okay? But let something happen to me and it don't sound right. These white boys will be here on some next to kin shit, ready to tear some shit up. That's just the way it works.
That might be true, but let somebody get in my face talking about nigga, and I'm gonna bust them right now. I'm gonna bust them hard. I just want everybody out in cannabis land to know I don't play. So if you come at me like that, it's going to be a fight on the floor of MJ Biz or on the floor of whatever we at. It's going down. It's going to be like, ooh, Wanda whip that boy's ass. And I'm like, absolutely.
It's just that.
Absolutely.
It's just that through a shared traumatic experience,
like
war, we've had to, those things had to be put aside. Now, the thing is that for us now, the way that way of working and doing and success, the way that translates for us now is during these critical times when it comes to this cannabis legalization, because we're the only ones who will ever experience the end of prohibition on cannabis. None of us are going to be here to see. None of us are going to be here to see the penthouse of our work. This shit is going to outlive us all. Okay. And what is required of us right now is we have to think 5 and 10 generations down the road. And there needs to be mechanisms put in place to make sense. And if it don't make sense 5 and 10 generations down the road, those mechanisms can be utilized to make it make sense then. That's a difficult thing to get people to do today when you live in an instant gratification type of society.
Let's talk about some steps. Let's talk about some steps that need to have happen. And Tahir, you work for my favorite, cannabis organization, NCIA. But I mean, when we have organizations like that, and I'm not picking on NCIA because you're here, but Aaron put up his whole, Black Lives Matter and social equity is a thing and everything else. What's NCIA doing for social equity? Where are they fighting on the ground? Where was their lobbyist and saying, where's the language for social equity in here? You know what I mean? That's why I get tired of all these folks, when their little tweets and everything else, and people are like, why are you going in hard? I'm like, because it's bullshit. You know what I mean? Your tweet's cute, like you said, everybody is clapping, but where's the money behind NCIA putting in that language in New Jersey if it was so important? Where's NCIA? They're based here in Colorado. Where is it? Where was their fight? I didn't see them at the table at all saying, no, we need social equity. Where are they for that? So, and it's not just NCIA. We can go down the list. I mean, none of them have come out for it. I mean, yes, they've all come out for it. They're all very supportive. But what the fuck does that mean? Show me what you mean. You know what I mean? A tweet, okay, and what are we doing next? So until we start to hold everybody accountable, and all of us, right, and it's got to be all of us, and we can't get into the position of feeling like, well, I got my dispensary over here, so I'm just gonna sit here in Colorado because I got mine.
I got mine. Yeah, I got mine.
Right? Because here's the thing. even in getting mine, understand owning one dispensary right now is a liability. And I cannot tell you guys how much of a liability that is. So unless you own Planet 13, which is one dispensary that's worth whatever it's worth at this point, having one will effectively drive you out of the business. And the reason why is because Green Solutions, I don't even know anymore, has 48. Live Well has 22. Native Roots has whatever. I don't even know what those numbers are, right? We do well just because of the idea of that we were first and a little bit of celebrity behind it. So it works, right? But I mean, all folks coming up and thinking that your one dispensary is going to be able to hold ground, it's not. It's just not. And the regulatory framework and the times that you get hit and everything else that comes with it, it's not what you think it is unless you've got a massive dispensary. And yes, some folks may get lucky to get that great location, that massive dispensary that does, 4,000 people a day. That might happen. But I mean, come on, folks. We got to come up. We got to come up.
Consumers need to know who it's basically like, and this was to Tahir's point earlier, it's like basically folks need to know who's who are the black owned labels, who are the black brands.
Well,
and then those brands need to be elevated, and then we need to be because we need to be multiplying those brands. You see what I'm saying? Like, why is it Simply Pure just in Colorado?
So what is, well, and we're getting ready to talk about that because I'm getting ready to change that, right? Because I have to, because in hoping that other things happen, I mean, we were all in New Jersey. Everybody was hopeful 3 years ago or 2 years ago, whenever that was, we got slapped back. You know what I mean? It was like, no, not. I mean, there was actually 3 judges in New Jersey that gave Viola and Simply Pure 0 marks for diversity.
There you go.
But this is an even bigger conversation though. Like,
hold on. Time out. Wait a minute. Wanda, you tell me.
We'd have no white boys on our team. We'd have no white boys on our team, I guess. So we'd have enough diversity.
So y'all didn't have enough diversity.
We got 0. 3 judges out of 10 gave Simply Pure and Viola combination a 0 for diversity. I said, this some shit.
Right. Everything you're saying, Wanda, is 100% correct, and that's what I believe. I'll tell you that one of the biggest things that's been like something driving me. Like in the beginning of COVID, I read Simone Sanders' book. And she talked about the value of being within the apparatus and being able to make moves. So that's the way I've always seen my position at NCIA, to make sure that I am pushing us on all this.
And you are.
Like,
and you are
making this statement. I was like, look, I'm not going to be talking about I'm the head of diversity, equity, and inclusion if it don't got no teeth to it, right? So we had to say, like, look, I pushed them. I made them say that we were going to give out free membership to all social equity, not just licensees, but if you even applied for a license and you didn't even get it, you're going to get a free membership, right?
Let me be clear though. You have changed my feel. You haven't changed my feel about NCIA. You have changed my feel about what you do. And you and I have talked about this, right? I think that NCIA, and I'm sorry to be calling NCIA out. Is this an NCIA program?
Nope.
Okay. Oh well, here we go.
Gloves comes off. Here they come. Watch out, y'all.
And I'm talking about them because they've been around probably the longest at this point and probably one of the largest. And I know a lot of folks that are starting to work with them and everything else, but I still hold their feet to the fire and like, what have you done? I get it that folks are talking about, not you, Tahir, NCIA. What I have seen from you that we have talked about is all of the different things you are doing within NCIA to highlight what is happening and bringing on these conversations and making it happen. And it hasn't happened until you know what I mean? So even in discussing where, what I would like to do at NCI or be a part of it, it's because of you and what you bring to the table. And like I said before, know your power in this, because the head of NCIA, in my estimation, I haven't seen much.
Well, trust me, I definitely pay attention to every time we talk. Trust me, I'm listening very loudly and clearly. But something that you said that I think makes so much sense, going back to it, and Leo touched on a little bit too. Like, I believe with all this talent that we have in our Black community in cannabis, if we put it together, we are stronger than any of these MSOs, right? Like, if we're talking about like in a New Jersey application, like, I'm surprised, how did they give you and Viola together 0? But it's like, if we're talking about like Wanda James, like Leo, Tangi, like, we're talking about bring Mary and May, elevate like all of that into one super team. Viola, how can they beat us? Right? How can they beat us? And that's every chance I get. or even on that platform, I tried to showcase all the Black talent. Even within it could be the biggest white company in the world. I'm going to show you the bad Black person there, the bad sister there, right?
You know what, Tahir, we're getting to that point. It's taken us a few years. And let me say this, in fairness to us and everybody else in cannabis, right? There's a certain ego that comes with it, right? You get your first dispensary, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. People are writing about you, you know. Because I've been doing this for 10 years, my ego has been shattered because I've had my ass kicked in this industry. I need to be clear to everybody, right? You know, I mean, I'm always putting forth the positive piece and the good piece and everything else. But this is some shit. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. And for people that thinks that we're rolling in money and everything else, understand, I make money off of a whole lot of other things. If I rely just on my cannabis business to be able to get us where we're going to get us and intergenerational wealth and all that other stuff, that's bullshit. That ain't happening, guys. It's not
we
happening.
Ain't MTV cribs here.
Right? So once everybody gets to the point where you've been in this for 2 or 3 years and you're getting your ass kicked and you find out it ain't what you thought it was, then that ego then goes away. And this is what I've been saying forever. Tahir, you are right. On this board right now needs to be our board of directors. We need Miriam Main. We need Viola. We need Sinu. We need Elevate. We need Dr. Chandra Macias. You're right. All of us together should be a team that goes into every single friggin' state and says, give us this license. And I think that we're getting there. We haven't gotten it all together yet, but that conversation happens a lot.
So my thing is, so I think the conversation, I come at it from a different point of view, because I think that honestly, the fact that we're even asking for social equity from people who purposely put us in this position is just ludicrous to me. Like, we cannot continue to expect them to fucking do for us when they did this to us. So the fact that we can get together on our own, like, we don't need, when I look at a Marion Main or Elevate or Simply Pure, none of them are social equity dispensaries. We are creating what the fuck we want to see. Let's just keep doing that. Let's just absolutely keep doing that. It's just honestly not hard to me anymore. I'm tired of asking. I'm tired of asking an organization, a different state, a different whatever. I just need to know what the rules are so I can play. And then we just go in there and we play and we dominate. We take the hell over. That's what needs to happen at this point going forward. Because anything else is us just really just wasting time at this point, because that's literally why we don't have MXOs, because we're asking them for a license. We're trying to educate people at the same time. We're trying to stay their life with cannabis. You got gout, you got diabetes, you got all this stuff. You need cannabis, but at the same time, it's not a drug. Like, it's not gonna kill you. We try to educate them on how it works and what it does to the body. Then we trying to educate them on what products to use. We trying to do a whole bunch of educating while we're behind because of the lag and the lack of time frame that we have in catching up. So we can absolutely still do this. We don't, we're not that far behind, but if we shift our focus, I think that's what it really boils down to. We can't continue to, want the social equity. That shouldn't even be a discussion in Jersey. The fact that you have to talk about social equity, no one brought it up. No one thought to think it. No one thought to hashtag it. No one thought to say that this, we should probably add something because people have been arrested. People, they know what the fuck they doing. They know what's happening. So at this point, it's time for us to shift.
And that's why I wanted to be, I'm sorry. I just want to say that's why at this point for me, I can't speak in hypotheticals now, not now. I actually have to submit actual bill language that speaks to all of those points that we made. Because see, here's the other thing too that this does is that we get, let's say we get our bill language in, we get half of the things that we say we want. You know what I'm saying? What that does is that gives us a level of credibility because it sets a precedent for the rest of us in other states as well. We take all of these things, these lessons that we've learned or going through, and we actually apply them state by state by state.
And most importantly, what we need is Black financiers, right? And I love me some Jay-Z and everybody else, but you know what? Folks getting in bed with all these big MSOs and everybody else. I mean, yeah, you know what? let me talk directly. Yo, Jay-Z, you want to come with Simply Pure right now? I promise you, we can make it as big as anything else out there. I mean, so it's not even about why are you all creating these ridiculous lines? And you know what? Hold up, and let me beat up. And I don't really care at this point, but Wiz Khalifa came out with something. Was it Wiz that just came out with his line? And isn't he Trump supporting? Isn't that what we got going on right now? So I'm kind of like, wait, you want to come into the community with your Trump supporting butt with your line of cannabis? Why? When there is other folks that are already doing this, why don't we build up from internal instead of all of the ego going behind it? You know what I mean? Or if you are going to come out with your line, Snoop Dogg, why are you working with Live Well? Hello. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. So at some point, and not just the famous folks and everything else, but we also need, the Black Wall Street folks, coming down for this business.
We need the Black church. Like the Black church. I mean, goddamn. I mean, at this point, could you imagine, first of all, if the Black church was to allocate its assets and resources to helping Black brands in the cannabis space,
10% of it. You don't even need all of it.
That's yeah. And the thing is, but see, that's the number one hardest group of people to talk to about this. Yep. Because they're very conservative. Most people don't realize how conservative the Black church is.
We can't waste time on that right now. We don't even have time. I don't think we can't. We can't afford to talk to nobody who don't want to hear this right now. We can't afford to convince nobody else of what's going on. And these are licensing deals with these celebrities, so they not even really winning. Like I feel like I respect you more, Wanda, than I would a Snoop Dogg who partnered with a company. He don't own that shit. He owns his name, and that's what he's licensing out to them. So it's up to us. And I agree, and I think we should create that, especially here in Atlanta. I think we need to talk offline because we flashy. We all let's throw something. Y'all know I need a heel outfit anyway. Even let's throw something together, and I can pull those finance people together because I got the Wall Street people on my side. The Black Wall Street people, I fuck with them here. So that's who we need to get on our team. And I agree, Wanda. Let's make this happen. Let's get our people to finance the things that we need, and let's move forward. Because at this point, we need to start competing heavily.
Yeah, we need to be able to point at actual things, living, breathing things, equity and all that stuff. That we can no longer talk about it in theory. You see what I'm saying? And what's crazy is that to the point made earlier, you, Shayun, Hope, y'all are not equity program examples of what equity programs would look like. No, y'all just examples of what equity looks like. You understand what I'm saying?
Here too, y'all. I'm waiting for him to turn his camera and mic on. He just joined us.
Who did?
Who?
Shayun.
Who?
Hey,
get out of here.
Hey,
what?
Hey.
Oh, he doing his MMA shit, y'all. He doing his
oh wait,
I think he said wait.
He's trying to figure out how to turn his camera and stuff on. Hold on.
He had it for a second there. He'll be back. He hears us.
Yeah,
he knows we're talking about it.
Yeah, but it's in that aspect. Like we actually have to. Folks need to know who's who. That's the problem. You know what I'm saying? Because you also got a lot of people. Here's one thing about this industry I also learned. Skin folk ain't always kinfolk, y'all. That's a big time issue as well. And we have to, and again, why I say all roads lead back to education or lack thereof. Because you got a whole lot of people who are just gone from kind of curious to kind of serious. And again, trying to figure out, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, Wanda, you got a whole new audience of people who just found out who Wanda James is. A whole lot of people just found out who Leo Bridgewater is. Whole lot of people just found out who Jane Green is. And just and here we are, we just voted for this and you just now finding out? Mm-hmm. See, that's a problem. That's a very serious problem. And no, Jay-Z is not the king of the blacks. You know what I'm saying? No, Wiz Khalifa is not the, like even with the old money, the old black money, don't even know where the hell, like who we are and where to find us.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, that's the whole reason I switched up to the cannabis game. I came from finance, and I'm finally getting the credibility now where people are starting to notice that I can make the connections back to the Black finance and money. So like my goal is to, if I'm going to do this, to get behind the Black.
I don't know. It might be in the office on the desk.
Something like that.
I mean, Tahir, honestly, you've got an amazing opportunity as well, too, to actually draw those financial lines, because we don't have, well, I mean, there's a few people kind of coming into it now, but once again, your profile and what you've done for NCIA, with NCIA, who you are, what you've got in your background. And that's what I'm saying. We come to the table with lots of tools in our tool bucket, and, we've got to figure out what our lane is going to be and how we're going to really blow up what it is that we do. And the idea of blooming where you're planted is exactly what it is that you're doing, which I'm forever grateful. I'm thrilled every time I see you, introducing something Black on the NCIA platform, because yeah, it's time for us to, it's time to expose those folks to what we're talking about. And you're doing a hell of a job.
So what we need to do to get ready down in Georgia, Tanj? We need to start early.
Yeah, we do.
We have to start early. We do.
Yeah,
we have to we have to get the word out, because some people probably think it's done. Some people aren't really sure. And you know what? Voter fatigue is real. I really understand that people just get fucking tired of standing in line to prove a point that may not even get proven on their side. So it's exhausting, and I get it and I understand. But what I also understand is there is a new sense of, oh, we really do have power. Oh, we really did show up, and we really did make it happen. And we really saw the fruit of our labor standing in those long lines. And so I truly, once we get the word out, we got to start doing some advertising, some promoting, let people know, because Reverend John Ossoff is awesome. And then Reverend Warnock, he is the pastor of Dr. Martin Luther King's church, Ebenezer, and he's amazing. He spoke about the injustices of the war on drugs. So I know he's on our side as well. So we're gonna flip these seats. We have to get the word out. We have to get them to understand, we got some money down here. We got some real heavy hitters and some players. We just need to get on one accord, one agenda. And that's what the Georgia Cannabis Coalition is really trying to do, is trying to create lobby points for them, just things that we've seen in other states, that we don't have to create the wheel at all, recreate it at all. We can just definitely do what's been done, but better, but better. We can get these 2 feet flipped, and then we can prioritize legalization and full decriminalization throughout the entire state. Because I want you guys to understand, Atlanta and Georgia are 2 different places, okay?
Yep.
Atlanta, but Georgia as a whole is backwoods, is country, it's, it is not paying attention to really what's going on. It's really farm agricultural area. So you really gotta get those people to understand the significance of this, and then the opportunities that cannabis will bring. Now, with the low THC oil marijuana, they've made it millions of dollars. It's only 6 of them. It's only 100,000 square feet on one, 50,000 square feet on the other set. So we're like, okay, y'all got that. Don't even worry about it. We're gonna run hemp. We gonna get a hold of hemp down here, and we gonna run it and create some processing facilities, create, some partnerships with farms around here, and get that going, because that's long-term money. And we think that's the real long-term strategy, is hemp. And so we're really excited about that in Georgia. But just getting the people educated, it really boils back to what Leo said. Like, they terrified. They think it isn't been locked up because of it. They don't want the church to know about it. They don't want their family members to, their mama to know. It's a lot, it's a lot to get around. But it's happening, and it's getting done. And it's a lot of young people down here hungry and thirsty and ready to move.
And that's one of the reasons why, I'm with like what we're doing here in New Jersey with Black cannabis. We're going after the hemp licenses, the processing. We're actually talking with the mayor of Trenton right now and looking at different things in which we can directly impact the community. Hence why like at this point we actually have to be all the things that we've been screaming about. and then come, because what we're doing now is we're picking the new old names. At one time or another, Anheuser and Busch were new names. We're doing that right now.
Yeah. We're ready. Tangi, Atlanta, and Georgia are about to, get to be real. It is the epicenter of I'm going to say Black power, and I always want to be careful because there's so many different epicenters that we have in the United States. But Georgia coming out of the South, Atlanta, we call Denver Whitelanta because it's the exact opposite of Atlanta.
Okay. I can see that though.
It is.
Yeah, that's the first time I heard that, but I actually do agree with that. Yeah.
But coming out of Georgia and what we're doing down there, and Stacey Abrams, Keisha Lance Bottoms, just doing amazing work, along with all the other folks that are out there supporting what's happening. So yeah, Atlanta's definitely the place to watch. Let's see what happens. It's just time for a power play, y'all. You know what I mean? I'm reading the book Caste right now. And the first, couple paragraphs of that, when they start talking about we are the lowest caste in America, honestly, you guys, that killed my soul. It was like somebody just shot me in the back, because that's not what I think of myself as. I'm like, fuck these motherfuckers, I'm here. So it becomes really difficult when you read that and you see that, and then you're like, all right, you know what? My job has to be to change that position in America right now. So this is how we do it, Angie, and you in the epicenter.
I see we got a lot of people in here. If anybody has any questions, feel free to throw your questions in the chat room, and we'll make sure we answer those. Wanda, one thing I think is important, I want to ask you about. With everything going on in the election, there's a lot of tension going on out here. And like I said, I see that my bro Shayun in the building, elevator.
There he is.
Yo.
So let me make another introduction before I go in. We got my brother, the youngest Black man in the country to own a dispensary, on the call. A lot of us, we Leo and Sage, we was all just there in Boston 2 weeks ago, man. At your shop, man. Tell us what's going on, bro. Say something for the people.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Naomi? I see you, Wanda, Jane, Leo. What's up, guys? It's so good to see everyone. I think Wanda said it. Like, y'all, look, guys. Let me just say this real quick. It would be such a disappointment, a big disappointment. I'm talking about the core group people on this call, the core African Americans that have been in this industry, really trying to pave way and make sure the next generations really have a seat at the table. It would be a real disappointment if we do not create generational wealth, true generational wealth. There's a lot of talks about it, but there is no actionable items where we see some of the core leaders actually coming together and pulling together and say, like, here's resources, how can I help you? Here's the shovel, how can we dig together? Jane, for example, you own a CBD company. There's no fucking reason why we should not be carrying your fucking CBD shit at every Elevate cannabis store. That's a disappointment on my part. I've been busy, so I have no excuse, but there's no reason why we should not be carrying your shit, regardless, right? Especially if it's to me, it's just more about, it's not even a crab in a barrel mentality anymore. I don't know what to call it with us. It's more about, let me say this, guys. Massachusetts, for example, hit 1 billion within 2 years, made $1 billion within the 2 years. Guess how many dispensary was open that was owned by African Americans? None, really. Hero S is opened up. COVID-19 hit. They opened up for 2 months. COVID-19 hit. They closed down. So they never got the opportunity to really benefit from that big boom that occurred. So as we're seeing Arizona, as we're seeing New Jersey's, as we're seeing Mississippi, South Dakota, as we're seeing all these major states come and open and ready to there is no reason why we should not pull resources together, pull capital together, and say, you know what? Let us, like, we know it, they're gonna make billions. Who cares? Look, guys, in Africa, they have this thing called a susu model, right? So basically people, so people will come together, right? And we will all put money in a pot, and then we would help one person open their business. Then we'll do that again. Like guys, think about it, right? The industry, if we get into first mover advantage, right? It's strategic. Who cares? Let's just say we all own our freaking brand. Let's just say that we don't want to partner up, right? Let's just say that, hypothetically speaking. Let's get one of us in, make $1 billion, bro. You pay us interest, and you get the next store open. You get the next, like you help us open our store. We define all that. We understand that. If Arizona opens up, we already put capital together. We're saying, okay, we're gonna get you there. We're gonna help you open your store. But here's what we need in return. You need to carry this X amount of product of this person, Jane, a CBD product. You need to do X, Y, and Z. We need to make sure that it is a freaking win-win situation. Let's just say that we are looking at doing cultivation. We help one person open a retail. We're like, okay, we will give you the money, get you started. Now, what's going to happen is once your retail start opening, because we have first mover advantage, if the revenue is a reflection of what every other state does, we know we're going to boom. We know if it's a reflection, if we get it in the right location, demographic, everything is going to boom, right? And I've made a lot of mistakes. So bringing all that to the table and experience from Wanda to me just being operators, we have some CFO like Naomi that's already on deck that owns dope CFO. We have you, Jane. We have Leo. We have fucking Tahir that is with NCIA and has a tremendous amount of connection and network. So it's just like, bro, why are we not here? Why are we not utilizing everybody manpower and we're trying to do everything on our own when we already have excellence right here?
Hey, and hold on, I don't want to cut you off. And you
bro, go ahead, cut me off, because I would talk forever if you don't cut me off, bro.
Now, look, I just want to say something, because you look like you just hopped out the barber chair. That's why you ain't want to turn the camera on at first. Anyway.
He got that big ass part. I was looking at that big ass part.
That is right.
It looks good too. I appreciate you, bro. It's looking real good. I appreciate it. I was just flexing a little bit. You know, I'm trying to be a model, low key.
Hey, I'm nappy headed. I can't even
I was gonna say, tell him to hear. We kind of, you know what I'm saying? We ain't do that like that.
You know what? And I just want to, you know, I always want to shout you out, man. And I want to just say something. I'm gonna take the time to announce this here first, especially because we got Wanda on the call, because I believe she was a past board member of NCIA, I would assume the first Black one. But I'm just going to announce, man, I've been working. My brother Shayu and the Data G is the newest board member of NCIA. It's not even a public news, but it's going down. And I said that we're about to make this and bring the person. We're not just talking about members. I'm talking about the board of directors. I'm talking about.
There you go, Wanda. There go your answer.
I'm talking all up and through the
You better bring some Black people on there, Tahir. You better figure it out.
In addition to that,
they're going to answer the Wanda's question.
My girl Becky from Calixium out there in Detroit, the first woman grower in the Midwest. She's also on NCIA's board of directors.
What?
But I got two. So,
you know what, Tahir, that's really important because, and you know, this is really, I honestly did not come on here today to beat up on NCIA, but one of the problems that NCIA has had in the past is, and it's America's issue, is we do the one, you know what I mean? Oh, we have one Black member. So I was one Black member. Dr. Letitia Jenkins was one Black member. I mean, I can go through all your Black members of the board. And then what happens is you get on this board and everything becomes white, and they want you to sign off on this white thing. Go ahead, sign off on it. And then at first, you know, you're like, well, I'm trying to make my changes. I'm trying to make my differences. And then when you stand up and become an issue for the board because you're not understanding where the board and the direction want to go. Now you're the problem because there's only one. You can't integrate a school with one Black person. You can't integrate the Supreme Court with one Black person. You can't integrate your board of directors with one Black person. You don't have a diverse company with one Black person in your C-suite. You need to have multiple people on there. So if these folks are really committed to, and this word is so overused now, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Show me diversity, equity, inclusion, and one is not it. One is an insult to all of us, and one makes you a token. And I know that no one wants to hear that, but if you're one, you're a token.
Hey, so let me say this, Wanda. Like, hey, I'm just saying that me on the board, you know, I'm from the street, so I'm gonna be like, what's good?
I know. But now
you know what I mean?
You got two on there.
Like,
You got Tahir. I mean, Tahir is changing that piece by piece.
You know what I mean? Be like, what's up, bro?
Yeah. No, I'm not. Please let me make that clear. I'm not saying that seeing you is a token by any stretch. I mean, with Tahir and bringing on the other woman, you know what I mean? It's a matter of you now need that backing, because when you get to those board decisions, you will be left out in the cold if you are only one. There will be nobody there that's got your back. And let me tell you what, I'm watching The Walking Dead now. I'm late to the game and I'm loving it, right? You can't beat zombies by yourself. You can't do it. You got to have more than one. You got to have a squad in there fighting with you to be able to make difference, or else your one vote don't mean shit. I'm sorry, it just doesn't.
Yeah, you know, I see what you're saying, Wanda, 100%. I want to give Tahir a shout out too. This brother right here, like, yo, guys, like, it's amazing. I've been in this industry since 2017, and I truly felt alone. I didn't see a lot of minorities actually participating, and I didn't get a lot of, like, you know, mentorship where I could ask people like, hey, how can I, you know, improve? Where are some things that you've done that you failed? And I'm not the type of person that need, like, you know, I go in with nothing. Like, I had a business already. It was more of like, how can I get better? And what I would say is, like, coming into the cannabis industry, it was a lonely road, especially doing it by yourself. And, you know, meeting Tahir, it's and people like Leo, like, I really consider them, like, I've known them for a little bit. Jane, I just met you. You flew out for my grand opening. You didn't know me from Dick and here. But, you know, like, just things like that, you know, within the cannabis industry, like Naomi, she didn't know me, but just the connection. I just want to call those people out and say, look, I appreciate you guys. Like, truly, like, you guys are the difference maker. I remember just being able to just call you guys and just talk. It meant the world to me. So I just want to say thank you guys. And, you know, we're going to just talk and talk forever. But I really want to challenge everyone on this call. And I apologize if I do not know everyone on here. I would love to meet and greet everyone and just, you know, get to know everyone. But my goal right now is, if we can have actionable plans, what can we realistically do? What are realistically things that are in our power that we can really, like, tangibly do to push our agenda forward? Because I just been in meetings where we have African Americans and we sit here and we rah. And at the end of the day, we go back to our house and there's no actionable items. There's no structure. There is no, like, let's take this, guys, look, this is an emerging industry. I am not selfish. I'm like, look, if it's fair and it's a win-win, let's do it. If it makes sense, and we could get, like, there's 5 states that just became open. Guys, we can make a ton of money. Money is not gonna be the issue. The issue is going to be pride and ego. Yep. That's going to be the issue. And I think that we got to first, like, you know, talk about that. Like, where is the pride and ego coming from? What is it that we want to accomplish? And what are people butthurt about? What are your concerns? Like, you know, like, I tell people, like, every time I get into a relationship with a business relationship, I negotiate my honeymoon at the same time I negotiate my divorce. And I think that Black people at times in business, we are not comfortable negotiating our divorce. So anyone here that if we do decide to work together, we need to be structured as a corporation, understanding that, look, guys, this is what it is. If you are sad and you're butthurt about something, here's the agreement. Let's look at the agreement, go home and cry, come back to us. This is how we're going to move forward. After that, that's it.
Well, and this is also why you start to learn very soon in your cannabis career that your operating agreement matters, that your, you know, the involvement of your investors and how you have that set up from the very beginning matters. You know, we've just gone through a very nasty divorce with one of our investors. And he's still a problem. I mean, out there talking shit. But you know, I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. So you've got to really, and you'll learn more about business in this cannabis space than you ever thought you did. You know, after 25 years of being an entrepreneur, I've learned more in the last decade about business ownership, and the importance of a great legal team from the beginning than I have ever thought that I would have.
Yeah, and I understand, and we're the same way. Structure-wise, like guys, like as nice as I am, like I don't really play. Like, you know, I'm just about my money. Like, what's up? Like, and at the end of the day, like I have attorneys on deck, right? What I'm trying to say is, with us, with the potential of us working together, right now, I own stores in Massachusetts, right? Wanda, you own stores. You're the first woman that ever opened a dispensary in the United States, the first African-American that has ever done it. You are our fairy godmother. You get what I'm saying? Like you're the OG in the house. And all I'm trying to see is, are we all serious about making actionable items? We don't all have to be on this call, and it seems like we're all talking about expansion and opportunities and how we can really get POCs in it. And no disrespect to not everyone that's on here. Like it sounds wrong, but I'm just trying to, like, what I'm trying to do right now is like the core people that been in the cannabis industry. I really think we got to uplift those people, and we got to really make, you know, I'm like, we got to set these people up. We got to set ourselves up. We got to take care of ourselves. Like, and, you know, I came to the realization everyone is trying to build everyone home, but we got to build our home and our foundation. So to scale, then we could bring other people along and create more opportunities to bring more minorities along. But we really we gotta figure this out, because there's no reason why we shouldn't be one of the first people in New Jersey, Arizona, South Dakota, Mississippi. Wanda, you're gonna say something, and I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Well, we got our finance lady in the building, Naomi Granger in the house. What's up? What do we, you know, in terms of like what I'll say, to be financially prepared, what do you think are some steps that we need to take as Black folks?
So I'm actually doing a presentation at about 1 or 2. I'm Pacific time, so I'm a little off with the hours, but I'm presenting on how to survive an IRS audit. So I'm going to talk about what happens, what understanding 280E, what's going on with the IRS and all those different things. But the number one thing that you guys need is to have all of your books and records in order, and not to try to sit here and try to cheat the IRS, not trying to get past 280E, figure out all these legal entities and ways to move your money around, because they're not going for that anymore. And right now, you just need to be heavily capitalized. It takes money to make this business work. And then down the road, that is when you're going to be able to get your return on your investment. But right now, it's just hard for cannabis companies. I work with a lot of them. I'm an accountant, and I see that there's not a lot of money. You're getting taxed on phantom income that you didn't even make or realize. So those are the things that I'm going to talk about in my presentation in a little bit.
And Naomi,
yeah, so shout out to Naomi. She's our CFO. I just want to brag. She just jumped on, helping us out. Thank you, Naomi. She's helping us out real quick. She was like, hey, Sharon, you need help? I was like, heck yeah.
And good to meet you all. And nice to meet you, Wanda. I've been following you for quite some time now.
Nice to meet you, and I'm glad to see you out there. You are truly a unicorn. Black female CEOs, there's not a lot of folks out there that are doing that. So big ups and hats off to you. And you absolutely nailed it. I talk to so many people, and mostly my brothers and sisters in California, that think that the federal government, that they're smarter than the federal government. And they give me all these ways of how they ain't going to pay this and they ain't going to do that. And I've stopped arguing with them. I'm just like, yeah, all right, if you guys think you know what's going on. Well, we didn't pay that last year and ain't no one said nothing. And I'm like, watch what happens in year 3. Because, and
Yeah,
when the
that's
IRS
when they
starts,
come and audit you.
that's when they come and audit. It's year 3. And let me tell you what, when the IRS, we just finished our first audit with the IRS, and because I don't play. I give the government all their money. I'm not even, and our books are pristine. Do you know that the IRS person came back and actually gave us more money back because they stopped going through stuff. They're like, this is great. This is great. Wow, that's fantastic. You know, and that's the response that you want from the IRS when you're playing this game. Look, folks, here's the deal. 280E will prevent all of y'all from being, you know, multi-billionaires in the next, you know, 2 to 3 years until this is legal. So right now, until we get over the illegalities of selling a Schedule 1 illegal drug, just play the IRS game, because you will not beat them. And yes, it won't be year 1, and no, it won't be year 2. And what's going to happen is you're going to get cocky after year 1, and you're going to take more deductions on year 2 and even more on year 3. And that's when you're going to get hit, possibly criminally, because if you hide more than 25% of your income from the IRS, that's considered a criminal indictment. So think about that. And when you do something criminal, trust me that everything you own is then in jeopardy. Everything. So
yes, and if your business isn't set up properly, they're going to come after you personally. Don't
Yep.
think that LLC or that corporation is going to be protected. If you're intermingling, if you're using it at your personal bank account and all that stuff, everything gets opened up.
Yep. Yep. Seriously. I mean, don't play. Don't.
Like, you got a long track record, right? You've been doing this for years, and in that time, I'm sure you've seen it all, like the highs, lows, the tricks, the things people thought of and haven't thought of. Like, what was the most important thing that you've learned, or like that you wish you would have known earlier, like when you were starting out?
Me or Naomi?
No,
me?
For you, Wanda.
Do you know what? Because this was not my first business, I have owned businesses now for a very, very long time. I knew going into this. And once again, I and being the first, I mean, there was no opportunity for me to even think about not doing this exactly correctly and in the way that it should have been done, because when you're the only one out there, I know that they're looking at me, you know what I mean? So you've just got to be smart. And let me say this as well too. Legal and financial is expensive up front, but let me tell you what's really expensive is not having the correct legal and finance up front, because on the backside, when I say, and Naomi's absolutely correct, little simple things like using the same account for your personal stuff and your business means that they can now dig down all of your personal stuff as well too. So there's just so many pitfalls that you can get into, how you're paying people, how you're paying yourself. Don't do something for one investor that you're not doing for all your investors. I mean, there's just so many traps in that, and having a smart CFO standing right there beside you is the best amount of money that you can spend. And yeah, it's going to be expensive. And let me tell you this as well too. When you got a Black woman working for you, pay her what you'd pay a white boy, pay her.
And Shaheen,
Pay her.
you know, something to ask you. Is dope to see you building your team and bringing Naomi on, bringing Black people on, doing exactly what you said you were going to do. And now you're on both coasts, right? Like, you're in Mass and you're in Oregon. What's it like to operate a business now on both coasts? Do you see it exponentially difficulter, and how are you dealing with it?
I think the biggest thing for me is understanding my weakness and understanding my strength. Like, I think it's just SOPs and having humility enough to say, you know what, I don't know this, and then bringing people smarter than me on. To be honest, I think that's the biggest lessons that I've learned is be honest. You know, if you don't understand something, you don't know anything, like just say you don't know, and I'm not ashamed of it. So right now in Oregon, I have a great store manager. I have an operational manager that really manage everything and make sure we're compliant with the state rules and regulation. We have inventory managers that are, and I think that one of the best investment I've ever made in my life was understanding what my company was about. Like, what's our core value? What's our mission? And what are we about? Like, you know, and understanding that and being able to articulate it to my team has been tremendous, because if you look at both the Oregon store or just that store here in Massachusetts, is consistent. Like the way we interview for Oregon, we have a 2-step process interview. So it's just like being consistent with who we hire, making sure they understand our core values and what we're about, and just asking for help with things I don't know or just understand, and bringing people smarter than me on.
Yep.
Well, I would just like to say this.
Hey, I can't hear you,
I would
Tahir.
like to meet with,
No, go ahead, Nate.
oh, is he muted? Yeah, really quick. So a lot of you guys on here might not know me, but I launched Dope CFO, and we've taught over 700 accounting firms across the country how to do proper accounting in cannabis. Now I'm currently going through an ugly divorce with that, but I am launching the National Association of Cannabis Accounting and Tax Professionals, and my goal is to standardize accounting, because that's just the only reason why we're seeing people get in trouble is because they're doing things they don't realize that they're doing wrong. And so I want to standardize the accounting, and with that, I would like to also, I have a network of over 700 accountants across the country who can help with social equity, who can help provide pro bono hours to these social equity applicants, because we realize you get a license, but now you need money so that you can have an accountant and an attorney in place. You need to build out your facility, you need inventory. There's just so much more that you need outside of just winning that license. And so I would like to work, I know I need a team in order to do something like that. So I would like to talk to a lot of you guys offline.
Hey, well, if
Absolutely,
you need a
100.
financial advisor to help out with anything, I'm your guy.
Yeah, I want to provide a financial literacy to these social equity applicants. I mean, there's just so much business, there's so much things that they're lacking that they need more than just winning a license.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, nah, this is super dope, yo. I got to tell y'all, this is one of my favorite panels I ever did. We even had a surprise guest with Shayun and Naomi join us. We had Wanda drop all of those gems, man. We had Leo and Tange, like everybody representing for the veterans, especially after Veterans Day. You know, for me, I would just say my last thing I just want to close out with, and I'll give everybody a chance to give their last thoughts. You know, I just want to say, you know, as people of color, like everybody has said, you know, we're looking at a huge industry, right? Like I've seen numbers as low as $30 billion and up, talking about what this industry is going to be worth within the next 5 years. You've heard Shayun and Wanda and like everybody both talk about, we can't wait for them to give it to us, right? We have to keep fighting for that. But at the same time, if they're not going to give it to us, we have to take it. We have to mobilize. We have enough talent within our Black community. There's enough money within the Black community. We circulate it and give it to everybody else. It's time for us to put this together. We got 5 new states. Look, man, we got New Jersey. We got Arizona. We got Mississippi. We got South Dakota. We got more in Oregon. I'm missing somewhere else, right? So look, either way, look, we got a lot of opportunities here. A lot of new opportunities are coming on the board, and we need to be prepared. If you're ready, you don't got to get ready. That's all I got to say.
I would just like to add up, I am so proud of everybody on here. And I got to tell you, it's like I said, you know, 10 years ago, it was a really lonely place in cannabis. We got beat up by Black folks, white folks, and everybody else for doing what we were doing. The churches were against us. Black politicians were against us because how dare we legitimize putting drugs into the inner city, was what they told me, quote unquote. But now here we are, 10 years later, a decade later, all of the young faces coming up, when I shouldn't say young, all of the new faces that are coming into cannabis are thrilling to me. And to see us all at each level, Tahir, to see you doing your thing, seriously, and as much as I beat up on NCIA, I'm so proud that you're there, because that's changing the conversation. Naomi, first chance that I've had to meet you, and my heart is just full and blowing over, because you are truly, I mean, Black woman in finance. I mean, oh my gosh, this is fabulous, you know. And you are love you, and our youngest and our first Black multi-state operator. I don't want to give you that MSO title, but I mean, how about the BSMO? Is that right? Yeah, so you can be the B. Yeah, so we'll come up with a title for you. We'll figure it all out. But you know, I mean, just full with everything that we're doing. Tangi, you know, seeing you on the ground in Atlanta and bringing on what you're doing, and then of course, you know, the ever-present Leo Bridgewater. I mean, and that's just a few of the names that are out there. We could sit here for the next hour and start to list all of the people who were involved. I feel like it's kind of like getting the vote in 1964 and then having Barack Obama as president, you know, 40 years later, and now we've got Kamala. So we keep adding on to the amazing depth of what we can do here in Black cannabis. And I am thrilled, just so thrilled to see all of this, you know, happen. And now I just want to see it happen on big levels and with big things and see us in charge.
How can we do that, Wanda?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I mean, it's all about coming together and working together and understanding as well. I'm not impressed because somebody has, a white male C-suite. I mean, I'm not impressed with that. You know, show me where you went down and you found you a Naomi and you found you a Jane Green and you found Tahir to advise your company on how to move forward. Because once again, folks, you know, we have to stop thinking of ourselves as we've got to stop thinking of ourselves as less than. You know what I mean? It's not important for me to have a white guy standing next to me. It's important for me to have a Black woman standing next to me, a Black man standing next to me. And we have got to celebrate those ideas because, you know, whiteness isn't what it's all about. And once again, I'm not saying this from a racial standpoint. I'm half white. Woman I love the most in the world happens to be very, very white, my mom. So, I mean, it's not about that. But when it comes down to what it is that we are doing, you know, I'm here for Black people, period. Period.
Who wants to take it next? Naomi.
Oh, I will end with this. I'm so proud. I'm so grateful to be on this call with everyone as well. This is super dope. And I'm with Shayoon. I'm like, let's put our money where our mouth is. If we really, let's show them. Like, I think we're the type that we need to see what it looks like. And then when we do, like, oh, okay. So if we, you know, when our powers combine on some Captain Planet shit, I always say that, like, we could really do this. So I think we probably should have another call offline with us. And I know we got a million things on our plate. That's a real thing, is like, we're already doing a million other things that I truly get that. But this is important and this is serious and we need to be able to compete. And the only way we can do that is making sure that we are MSOs and to make sure that we are, you know, playing in the actual game with them, not just on the sidelines, wishing, hoping, and praying that they'll let us in. We're done with that. And we have the resources, we have the connections, we got the network and the money to make it happen. We just need organization. So I'm really excited about the opportunities going forward. I'm excited about data and you know, software opportunities, technology, agriculture. I'm excited about all those fields in this industry. So I think we definitely need to move forward together and get with like-minded people. We don't have to get everybody can't come, you know. We can't do that either, but we have to recognize when we are in the midst and the presence of some greatness, and a conversation like this is part of that. So I'm so grateful. Thank you, Tahir, for having us. Thank you for all my friends. These are my real friends, y'all. I'm a brag. These are I got their phone number and everything, you know, so these are my people. These are my friends. I'm so excited and I'm glad to know y'all. I'm just grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, so Naomi, I saw your text message about a Black work group. So we've been working on something called the Black Circle, and it's essentially for Black excellence within the cannabis industry, and for us to come together and see how we could really affect change. And by coming together and seeing, like, you know, but we're working on the structure right now. Me and Tahir have been working on it for a little bit. We kind of took a pause. Everyone is doing their thing. But it's essentially Black Circle. And we're trying to get hitters like Wanda, yourself, and everyone really on this call. They're hitters and are really dedicated about moving the minority agenda forward. Like I said, look, guys, I'm young. I'm 27. I'm learning. Wanda, I'm learning from you. Like, y'all sit there and, you know, MSO and no MSO. I learned from Naomi. We have conference call. She's like, y'all, Naomi is a boss, by the way, yo. Like, I'm like, Naomi, we need this. She'd be like, okay, boom. And it's like done the next day. And just, I want to shout that out because I've worked with our people before. And the lack of professionalism has never always been there, but I've never given up. And I want to give Naomi a shout out and Tahir a shout out. These are people that I worked with closely that I can be like, oh my God, like, you know, this has been the most professional, you know, like encounter with my own people in a really long time. Because I personally, as a business owner, I'm not going to sit here and cry. I've been burned. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and I've been burned by our own people more time than one. And this is just saying that, like, with Naomi and Tahir, y'all really are amazing. I just want to just put it out there.
Just real quick on that, let me just say this as well too. I'm only 27 as well too, with 20 years experience. But anyway,
Wanda, you look amazing. Don't get me wrong.
No.
You look like you're 27.
No. But here's the thing, y'all. Getting into this industry, and just real quick, because what you talked about spending a lot of money, that's the cannabis space. And for all new people getting into cannabis right now, take $500,000, put it on your lawn, set it on fire. Because you're going to make that amount of mistakes. You're going to make that amount of bad decisions. Not bad because whatever, it's just because you don't know. And I mean, you're going to run into it. So when you've hit that $500,000 point, at that point, you can rest assured that you now have earned your master's in business administration and your legal degree. And you're ready to start to move forward. But yeah, you're going to lose some money. And people that tell me, well, I got $200,000 to open this business, I feel so bad because $200,000 ain't going to do nothing, but you're going to lose that and you're not going to have anything for it. So you've got to be prepared in this industry to put your money, you're going to lose it 100%. Yep. And it's not just about being black. That's anybody, white, black, brown, purple. That's going to happen.
And that's one thing I try to make sure that I'm transparent about, because since people see me working in cannabis now, right? People be like, hit me up, think I have bread. I'm like, yo, honestly, what I'm doing in advocacy, I don't make half of what I made when I worked in finance. So for people to think about it, and like you have dispensary owners telling you the real, like I said, I always try to keep it real because, like, again, and that's the other reason people need to think about the professional skills that they have, right? Look at Naomi, if you're an accountant, don't quit your accounting job talking about, I want to grow cannabis, right? You can be an accountant for cannabis. There's all these different ways that we can apply that skill. And that's what we need to do. We need all parts. We need all skill sets. 100. We need our Black architects. We need our Black law enforcement folks. We need us all in, our Black doctors, everybody. We need us all in on this.
Yep.
Dang, I hope y'all enjoyed it. I don't want to leave wish it wasn't in, but y'all stay tuned. We're going to give more of this, man. It's great to be able to have all these Black leaders on here dropping these gems and knowledge. Wanda, Naomi, Shayun, I know Leo and Tange are gone, but hopefully we'll all catch up soon.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds good. Hey, Wanda, would we be able to connect?
How you
gonna ask me that publicly out here?
I'll send y'all each other's numbers. Don't worry, I'll connect you.
You know what I mean? So I have to do it publicly. That's the best.
He tells a story 100 years ago. Before he had a dispensary, he called and I didn't get back to him because I didn't know who he was. And then he ran up on me at one of these things. Like, I've been trying to call you. You won't call me back. So anytime I see your number come up, I'm like, all right, let me get back to it. Yes, of course.
Oh yeah,
that's the page out of her book. Like she actually told me that sometimes when you want to get something done, you got to say it publicly, right? So,
she said that too, and I heard. This is what I to say. So I got that from you. I got it from you, Wanda. So we just using your game. We adopted it, so y'all heard it. She said, "Yeah, I can hit her up." So it's
100. Actually, we need to talk anyway because yes, we do. Yes, 100.
Okay. Awesome.
Wanda, I would like to talk to you as well.
You know what? 100%, and I will make sure that everybody has all my info. You guys already have it, but make sure. Yes, 100%. Yes.
No, I don't have it, so we definitely.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't, but I can get it now. Tahir, if you don't mind sending it over, I really appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
It's coming. It's coming.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good.
All right. I love you. Oh, one more last thing I gotta say. So me and my boy Vince are working on a documentary, a movie, right? And I'm gonna need all of y'all in it. So we coming to Atlanta, we coming to Denver, We coming to Boston. Naomi, where you at? Ain't you up in the
Las Vegas. You
Okay,
gotta come to Las Vegas.
Vegas. So we're coming to all those places. So the name of my documentary, man, I'm saying is on public record. So don't try to steal it. It's on video. The name of my documentary is Black and the Green Rush. And so we're going to tell the stories
Oh, I like it.
That is dope.
From all these different angles. So whoever's out there that got some money for us to help fund this joint too, we could use that too. But yeah, let's keep that popping. It's almost 2021. I hope you all enjoyed this performance. I'm gonna leave it with this. Y'all see this bison in the back? We got a bison on the way to the White House. Man, we about to do it all, yo. I love y'all, man. It was good seeing all these beautiful black faces. And thank you for everybody that tuned in too.
Love you too, bro.
Thank
Stay blessed.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, thanks.